Okay, so I have my greens. They're rinsed out. They're layered. I might be putting the spinach. I was trying to hang on to my spinach to make some spinach tortillas, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to end up doing a big pot of greens. And you know, the nice thing about leftover greens, you freeze it and you can make some stuffed mushrooms with it. Oh, so good. Okay, whatever your leftovers are. So let's, okay, I hope you could see that. Can you see that? Let's put it down here. There you go. Well, you're still not going to be able to see it too well. Let me put it up here. I have it here. There you go. Alrighty. So what you do is chiffonade, and I have these videos already. So you take some of these greens, you roll them up. This is called chiffonading your greens. You roll them up like so. And then, well, and you know what? We've learned this, you know, in the South. They've been doing this for years, which probably came from Europe. And however, or who knows where the technique came from. But you chiffonade them. I'm sure there's going to be arguments. And then I usually just cut them in half. But they've been doing this in the South for years. And then that's it. You have your nice, chunky, you know, you get your greens. Or you could just rip them. You know, if you see some big ones, you can rip them. Whatever. Now I'm going to set them aside. So, and because you don't, you know, you don't really need it, unless you want to chiffonade them smaller, and then you want to do a different technique. I mean, a different method of cooking. And, of course, if you want to do a different method of cooking, by all means, you don't have to. And my greens are going to go on the bottom, because they take the longest to cook. So basically the kale and the greens. Now I usually have mustard greens. I'm not getting any mustard greens. I'm just going to put the cabbage and spinach, and I think that's good enough. There's a lot of flavors in the shank. It's going to make them delicious. Okay? There you go. I cut them up. So, in threes, which is good. And you want to make sure that you layer them, because whatever is going to cook the fastest, you want on the bottom. So, always, always. Yeah. So, roll that up. Alrighty. I'm going to put that here, like that, like so. Alright. And then you're going to take your kale. Your kale, right? You're going to chop them up, because kale's a little bit different. And you don't want to mince them. Please do not mince them. So, that's going to get on top of the collards. The kale. It's a thinner leaf, even though it's a curly leaf. This isn't the dino kale. This is just the regular kale that you can find. And if you want to add some chard to that, I mean, they're greens, for crying out loud. You just want to make greens. And I just kind of chop them up. Large cuts. Okay. Alrighty. You know, I think kids are funny because they're so young and they have, and a lot of times, I'm just going to say this, a lot of times kids are sheltered, you know, because when you get out there in the real world, it's kind of hard, but there's pros and cons to it. I try to shelter my kids, and that didn't work too well. It gets exhausting. When kids are meant to be out in the world, then they're just meant to be out in the world, and it just depends. And I was always afraid that something bad was going to happen to my kids. And plus, you know, you hear about a lot of bad stuff going on in the schools, and now we're homeschooling our kids, and you know, it's just sad because you don't know, and your schools need to be guarded and protected, and you never know what happens to a child or what a child's going to do. It's the least expected. You hear all these horror stories about what kids are doing, and I think I have great kids. I have some really good grandkids, and their parents are doing everything. I'm so proud of their parents that are doing everything they can to, I'm putting this in a separate bowl. There's no room in my pan. So they're doing everything they can to make sure that their kids are going to be well-rounded and they're going to be able to take care of themselves. And yeah, so it's really important, you know, when you're raising your kids, that you give them those life skills. Okay, that's not working. So I'm going to get because I don't want to cut myself. So I'm going to get my kitchen shears and open this up. So this is the shank that I have, okay? Make sure you're still on and you're still recording. Alright. And that's the park. I'm right next door to a park, which is really nice. And it's very diverse. It's pretty cool. I mean, there's not too many people that are, you know, once in a while you'll get the naughty person and it's like, what are you doing? You know. But it's pretty quiet for the most part. Okay, so I had to have some tea. I'm going to use that. I'm definitely going to be using, I decided I'm going to be using the, oops! Well, you did not see that, did you? Well, I didn't see it coming. Now, that happens. Okay, let's get this. Put it back in the bowl. Yeah, poop happens, right? Like Forrest Gump. One of my favorite movies. Okay. So, okay. I'm going to set that aside. And let's set this aside because I got to show you how to layer it and put it in a crock pot. And I'm just going to leave it in the crock pot. And I'm going to leave it in the crock pot and just make sure that, okay, let me take this out. And I'm going to put it in the refrigerator, and when I get ready in the morning, I'll be ready, I'll just pour in my stock that I have thawing out. I have my stock thawing out, and yeah, and it'll be all good. Okay, I'll just take this, put it out like so. Okay, so I think you can see that I have the insert of my crock pot, and then I have my greens, and yeah, pretty cool, right? And I mean, we never take the time to really show how this is done, so I just was doing shortcuts, and then some people were asking, you know, can you please show us step by step? So okay, so I'm gonna put the collard greens on the bottom. Actually, I'm gonna put the shank on the bottom. Oops. So, and this is a large You could, I'm sure you could put this in a Instapot or a, you know, pressure cooker, but I like doing the slow cook. That's just me. And then, but by the time this is done, that shank is gonna be so tender. Yeah, this is a lot. And I may have to cook it, and it's gonna cook down. And so I may have to put like a, what do you call it, a foil. Can't even say it. Piece of foil, parchment and foil on top. Or, you know, parchment, foil, parchment, plastic, foil. Plastic will help seal in all the liquids. And then I put that on top. It's nice kale. Whoa, I know, right? And then, yeah. Actually, I might have to go ahead and turn this on and let it sink down, and then add the rest, and then stop it, and then put it in there and let it cool down and cool it. This is just prepping. You're prepping. You want to take some time in doing this. You don't want to do, you know, I'm still going to put the spinach, and the spinach cooks really fast, so you can put the spinach in last. Okay. So that's that. Yeah. And then, wish I could turn on that stove, but I don't want that. I don't want to risk that breaking. So, okay. Well, I don't see how I'm going to do, well, okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn it on because I got to cook it down. So I'm going to go ahead, turn it on for a little bit, just for the sake of, okay, let me plug it. Yeah, there will be a day where there will be no more plugs. Everything will be solar powered, right? It'll be nice. No more electricity bill, which will be nice. Solar powered, no electricity bill. Oh, wouldn't that be heaven? So I'm going to go ahead and turn that up high. But I'm stuck in a time warp. Okay. I don't know why this thing is like, anyways. Okay, I'm going to turn it on because I do want it to start. I'm going to start cooking it down. And then I'm going to cool it off, refrigerator, and then finish cooking it tomorrow. So it can cook overnight. That's what I really want. Or I might not need to do that. I'm going to turn it on just in case. So, and then what I'm going to do is add, well, I have my stock that's thawing out, but it's not completely thawed out yet. So I'm going to go ahead and the stock I'm going to probably use for, I was thinking about tamales, but who knows what I'm going to use the stock for. So I got some chicken stock. You can put whatever kind of stock you want. And I'm just going to pour that in there. The whole thing. I'm going to put the whole thing in there, okay? Because you want these kind, or they're not going to be sauteed. They're going to be nice and tender, and they're going to go well with, it's like a side of greens. So you want to make sure, and I'm using the whole thing. And that's going to be plenty of fluids because there's going to be fluids in the greens as well. Okay? Alright. Now I'm going to put the cabbage on top. I know, right? This is where it gets ugly. I think you can see that. Okay? So I'm going to put the cabbage on top. Peaches, what are you doing? That's my dog, Peaches. Yeah. So people are still shopping. I did all my shopping because, well, for one, I'm not working. People work. And unfortunately, I'm not. Which I hate. I'd rather be working. But can't deal with certain things. It's like they're only about the dollar. It's like the mighty dollar. I'm gonna let you worry about the mighty dollar. How's that? Yeah, because I just can't do it anymore. I've had experience where people are fighting over money after deaths, and it's kind of like a big turn off. You almost don't want to be, you don't want to be rich anymore. There was a time where I wanted to be rich, but the thing that I say, and someone used to tell me, be rich in love. That's the most important thing, is be rich in love. And of course, we need to work to survive. But sometimes you just get tired. And that's okay. Okay, so you see how high that is? That is so freaking high. I mean, it's high. So what I'm going to do is cut up an onion and some garlic. That's what I put in it. Onion, garlic. Gee, I don't even think the spinach is going to have enough space in there. And then, of course, I put, you can or you don't have to put some butter in there. Take out a little bit. I'm going to take out some butter here because I need it. I'm going to be baking. So I'm taking out the butter out of the freezer. But for this, I'm going to be using that, and then some jalapenos. Here are some jalapenos, some marinated jalapenos, and then I'm going to cut in with some, I'm also going to put some bell pepper, because I like putting bell pepper in my greens. Someone yelled and said, those aren't greens. Well, you don't know flavors. That's all I can say. So, because this is about flavoring up your greens. If you want to put carrots in it, you can. Some people put corn in it. I'm not doing that. I did it one time, couple, and it says that to sweeten it up. I didn't think it sweetened it up too much. Yeah, I don't think so. And these people, you know, I mean, you're cooks, and I think that's where we learn. We learn cooking from each other, from each other's culture, and it does make a difference when you're educated in the area of culinary, because then you understand flavor. I might put some of these sriracha in it. So we'll see. And then, wait a minute, I have some fresh peppers that I want to put. Yeah. And then when people come into your space and say, try to, I mean, they can suggest, but it's not concrete. You do what you feel is right for your palate. You don't have to do it the way someone else tells you to do it. I mean, it's just the way it is. Anyways, and that's just my skill. All these years of cooking. I mean, you have your basic culinary cooking, French or whatever your basic, but then you start to incorporate your